gonna do right here is go back, way back.
It's the Going Way Back show with Money B. Classic hip hop, raw and uncut.
It's the Going Way Back show with Money B, your home for classic hip hop, raw and uncut. And I'm pleased to join by the legend himself, Master Ace in the building. How are you?
What's up, Money B?
How you doing? It's been a while. Right?
It has been.
Word. I think the last time we spoke was like 2009. So what was that, like 11 years ago? And you've done so much. I definitely want to talk about the last record with Marco Polo. I believe you're working on a new album with him as well, right? Follow
Yeah,
up?
we are. He done his part. I got all the beats. I just ain't writing nothing yet.
Word. Now, does he make beats as well?
He's the producer of the whole album.
Of the whole album? Because I know you make beats too, so I wasn't sure how that works out. I mean, since we on it.
Yeah, I haven't done music. I haven't made beats in quite a while, actually. When I was living in Brooklyn, my wife, who was my girl at the time, we had a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom was the studio. That was my pre-production room. I had all my equipment set up, records everywhere. It was like official tissue. And then when she became pregnant with our daughter, the studio became the baby's room, and all the equipment went in the boxes. And I never pulled the stuff back out. It's still in boxes to this day. That was 15 plus years ago.
Nice. And what was your equipment of choice? Like, what were you using?
So I had the MPC 60, the Mark II, and I had the S950. And the only reason I had those two pieces of equipment is because my good friend DJ Premier, that's what he had. And I didn't know how to work equipment. And I said, if you're going to show me I'll buy whatever you have, and you just show me how to do it.
You said it was the MPC 62?
62. So I went, he told me what he had, and that's exactly what I bought. After I bought it, I went to his crib, sat down with him. He gave me the ABCs of how to connect everything and how to make music come out and how to sample a record. And once Premier showed me what to do, I was like, appreciate it. I went home and started making beats.
Now, was it all just sample loops, or did you have any like musical acumen or training towards the beats?
I had no musical training. Later down the road, probably like 95 or so, I started fooling around with just instrumentation, like little keyboard stuff, sounds, like because what happened was the Chronic came out. And when the Chronic came out, it was so musical and so, groundbreaking in terms of hip hop. Using all of this live instrumentation, I had to try my hand at it. So I didn't like bring in session musicians to come play like that. I just kind of like got some keyboard sounds and just kind of like ear played some stuff. Yeah, just figured it out.
Playing around with it. So besides your tracks and the countless hits that Premier probably made with the MPC 62, a fun fact, the actual drums to I Get Around came from an MPC 62.
Wow.
DJ Fuse gave Shock G those drums from our drum machine. We had an MPC 60, and we had the 60, then we got the MPC 62, and then we ended up with the 3000, which was the last one that Roger Lynn worked on. And I actually have it in my garage.
Nice.
That I don't touch.
That needs to go in a museum somewhere.
Word. I mean, people have offered to buy it, but I don't think that I'll sell it, and I'll hold it for just that fact, like, because they don't make them, you can't get them, and it's really it's almost like a collector's item piece to have. You know what I'm saying?
My 62, I made a few records that people know from me. I've made on that 62 that I still have.
Oh yeah, like what?
Born to Roll, INC Ride, Sittin on Chrome. Those are all made on there.
On the 2, straight sample.
2. No, I mean, well, Bishop, yes, the drums and stuff, but I was mixing in instrumentation too.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded clear. And let's talk about Born to Roll, since we're right there, right? What was crazy, you know, at one, I was a fan of Jeep Ass Nigga anyway by itself, right? The original version of the song. But when you sample Knowledge Me from original concept, not many people knew that record, right? Because
I,
that was the B side of Can You Feel It? Wasn't it the B side? That wasn't the
yeah,
A,
yeah, and they didn't
right?
rhyme on it. They didn't rap on it.
And they didn't rhyme. It was just yo, B. Blah, blah.
Yep,
So
yep,
I told this girl, I was like, knowledge me.
yep.
But the bass was just super tremendous that we used to just,
Yeah,
you know, this is back in, I was in high school. It was 86. I remember it well.
yeah.
And I didn't think a
Hmm.
lot of people like, because after that record went away, you know, it was never a single or even talked about. So the fact that you
Right.
dug in the crates and pulled that out, you killed a lot of people. And the other thing about it is the way that it was used and what you were talking about, a lot of people thought that was really a West Coast record, but it wasn't. You know, it was
I know.
Dr. Dre, MTV Dr. Dre. Um,
Right.
did you have to clear that, or did you ever even highlight them about that?
So the story with that record is I was on a promo tour in like 94,
Okay.
93, 94, and I was in a record store. Wasn't that many people at the in store, so I was just looking through the bins and I found that I saw a Def Jam label, that burgundy label, in the
Right.
99-cent bin. I was like, oh, what's this? As soon as I saw it, Knowledge Me, I knew exactly what it was. I was like, ooh, they never really rhymed on this. If it's a clean piece, I wonder if I could like rap over this. So I bought it for 99 cents, took it home, and like
Mm.
you said, redid the Jeep Ass Nigga lyrics over the Knowledge Me beat. I added my own 808s, 909s, made it sound way bigger than it was. And then so we
Yeah.
didn't initially clear it, um, which I didn't really even tell the label like, yo, clearances still weren't like a mandatory type of thing. It was kind of like hit or miss. And so,
Yeah. Some people would go, some people wouldn't.
yeah, I think they came after us like maybe 3 or 4 years after it like really took off and was like a big record and on the radio and everything like that. They came and they were like, hey, that's our record. And so we gave them a piece of the record. I had 100% of it and I just gave a piece to Dre and them.
Okay. So it was not an issue.
No, I wasn't an issue.
Okay. And so that record kind of, I don't know, put you in a or you were viewed in a different light than from what you originally were, because now it the record did well on the West Coast, obviously. But I wanted to ask you, because you had the record Slaughterhouse on the record, right? And obviously, you talking about whack ass rappers and I'm pretty sure that when you made the record, you were clowning on that record, right? Initially.
Yeah, it was a
And
it was a parody.
yeah, it was a parody, but it was like clowning. But I don't even think you understood, or I know you didn't know making it, that niggas on the West Coast heard it. They weren't even thinking about. They just like, man, this shit go, it slap, like because you used
Right.
the Roger Zapp shit, so it actually was getting played in the hood, like just along with, even though it was a parody and you were kind of like clowning that style, it just fit right in. The cats who you were clowning was liking that record as
Yeah,
just another one of those records.
I didn't
And I,
even really realize that that's what was happening until I was at a car show in St. Louis, and
uh,
the DJ put it on. It was a pack. As soon as he put it on, like the whole crowd is rocking to it. Murder, murder, murder.
murder,
Like the whole
kill,
crowd. I'm
kill,
like,
kill.
wow. Like I'm clowning the fact that this is this kind of stuff that we're rapping about. That we're
Yeah,
rapping about murdering and killing each other, and they're celebrating it by singing the lyrics. And I was like, man, this is too much. I don't know what to do.
yeah, because I knew when I heard it, I knew that wasn't the intention. Like, because we was
Right.
jamming to it, and I was like, he really clowning us, right? But it's the beat.
I mean, I wasn't clowning like a particular group of people. I was clowning the gangsterism that was happening at that time, whether it was East or West. It was a lot of murder rap going on, and everybody was trying
Right.
to like be the next NWA or the next whatever. And I was like, man, like that's all labels were signing, and I just wanted to like shine some light on that. That's not what, you know. You don't have to be rhyming about killing and guns and blunts and 40s to be hardcore hip hop. That's what I was really trying to say.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. And so when I say clowning us, meaning like I had the same feeling that you felt. That's why I recognized it immediately. You know what I mean? When I'm around the cats that only like that, and they
Right.
just pulled it in as if it was just another one of those records, not even fully absorbing what you were trying to say. But it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
turned into another one of those records. So when that happened, did that influence you to try to make more records to appeal to a crowd? Like you had a newfound audience.
Yeah, what
So
happened? Delicious Vinyl, my label, when Born to Roll blew up, they came to me and they said, the car culture audience is really loving this song, and we think that for your next record, you should really try to cater to that audience because, like, we feel like we can really go platinum with this thing if you give us the right record. So
mhm,
I on my third record, Sitting on Chrome, I intentionally went in the studio to make a record to give them the record that they were asking for, which was a record that appealed to the car culture audience, the car show audience, the cruisers, the dudes who rolled on the weekends and different
right.
lowriders and whatever. So I tried to deliver that to Delicious Vinyl, which I feel like I was successful with it.
Mhm,
But at the same time, I tried to kind of keep my East Coast boom bap integrity. If you listen to the whole album, there's a lot of like, harder kind of sounding beats on there. And there's some stuff
right.
that's more radio kind of loosey goosey, but I tried to blend the two worlds together and see if I could give them a record that they would be happy with. And for the most part, I feel like I executed it. But if I'm being honest as an artist, that's probably not the album that I would have created if not for the influence from the label.
The Sitting on Chrome album.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess the point I was trying to make is that it almost like it was a accidental avalanche. So you didn't make Born to Roll to satisfy the crowd that you got from
No,
Slaughterhouse from that record.
no,
It
it was
just so
totally,
happened that you just
yeah,
found
totally on the
it was
humble.
organic.
I mean, I knew when I listened to that beat, I knew that if I rapped over it, that it was going to pull some new ears in. I knew that beat, that the sounds on that beat were going to be, were going to make noise in other markets outside of New York City. So I did know that, but I didn't know to what extent. I didn't know it was going to turn into what it turned into.
Right. And then afterwards, did Delicious continue to try to influence you to make certain kind of records, or was it like, okay, we hit them with that, now let's move on and do what I want to do, but keep it moving? How did that work
So
out?
so after I delivered them the Sitting on Chrome record, and we dropped the
Right.
first single, or which was INC Ride, which was I
Mm,
got the most radio play of any records I've ever released. INC Ride got the most radio play. It was a heavy rotation in LA, both stations. It was a heavy rotation in Texas and the Bay Area. And
still
so
is out here.
yeah, it still gets played, right? So um I felt like I had done my job because I gave them a record that had legs, that had the right sound. People
Mhm.
enjoyed. We shot a video for it. Everything was going great, but they switched distributors right after the record came out. And so
Mhm.
what happened was people were going to the stores to buy INC Ride. It wasn't in the stores because they were in the middle of switching over distributors, and so they were like, they pulled all the records from the shelf. They wanted to repackage them for the new distributor with the new, logo and all that stuff. So my record got lost in the middle of that. So what ultimately happened was we were performing at radio, but we weren't performing at the store. SoundScan didn't match up with the radio play that we were getting because the record wasn't available. And so eventually over the next couple of months, the radio started to back off of the spins because like, man, we're spinning this record and we don't see it climbing the charts sales wise. And so all that momentum was lost. So from that moment right there, I said, I'm doing whatever. From now on, I'm doing whatever I want to do. I'm not listening to no labels no more. I just changed my whole mindset after that.
Or and it that was the last record you did for them, right?
The Sittin on Chrome album was the last album. We dropped another single. Sittin on Chrome dropped that single as well. But yeah, I was no more records with them.
That was it.
We parted ways after that album.
All right, and for our younger audience who don't know, another thing that's interesting or amazing about those records that you were making is the time period in which they were made. Like 94, 95, and through 96, there was a lot of tension, with the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. So you were making these records that were appealing, I would think, mainly to West Coast.
Yeah.
You had our sound, but you were still residing in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, and I got.
So what was that like?
It was very. I got a lot of pushback from the New York audience. Just as a whole, I would say that New York was not feeling me at that time because, like you mentioned, the tension that was going on between the two coasts. The perception of me was that I had quote unquote sold out to the West Coast, and at that time you really kind of had to pick a side. Which was unfortunate because I didn't really agree. I mean, I really felt like we needed to not go down that route. But New York was very anti-West Coast, and the West Coast was like, F y'all too. Then if that's how y'all want to F y'all too. And here I am coming in with this record that's like kind of in the middle, walking the line because I'm from Brooklyn, but the record, a lot of the sounds and the appeal was more West Coast. So I kind of got caught up in that. Being perceived as a traitor, if anything.
Mm-hmm. And did you did it make you sort of like I'm not gonna say like wish I never did it, but kind of like did it turn you off to West Coast because of the backlash that you were receiving? You was like, man, I don't need this shit. Like
it didn't turn me off to the West Coast at all. What it did was it made me want to come back to New York and prove myself with another record. I wanted to do that. I wanted to I'm gonna show y'all, like, y'all calling me all of this. I'm gonna show y'all with this next record. So I actually left Delicious and signed with Big Beat Atlantic, which was in New York, and started working on a new record for them. And my goal was to really just kill all that talk with another record. But that record got shelved and never came out. And then that's when I really kind of got disenchanted with the whole industry and just kind of stepped away for about 3.5-4 years. I stepped away from the whole rapping, and I'm just gonna be a producer. I'm gonna, work behind the scenes. I actually sent some resumes out to a couple of labels trying to get a job, see if I could work behind the scenes. I was kind of done with making records at that point.
Right. Damn, I'm glad you didn't follow through with that. There was a question in the comments that said, what type of music did you want to make? But I believe you answered that. And I always have to, like I said, there are people young enough that don't remember that time period. So they hear what we say. So I always have to put out the disclaimer that, that whole East Coast, West Coast thing, it was fabricated, right? Because a lot of the artists didn't really feel that way. You know what I mean? Like at the time, like Premier was my guy. You know what I mean? And I still had people there. It was just like this thing that almost, it prevented us from being all of that we could be because we were restricted to try to show alliance to this or that. You know what I mean? So I feel like, there was some great music being made, but I think we kind of boxed ourselves in a way, or we let the media kind of just tear us down, or let us tear each other down.
Yeah.
Did you say? But also,
it turned into a gang mentality, like, you with them or you with us.
Because I do remember, because we were signed to Raw Fusion, myself and DJ Fuse, and Organized Confusion, Pharoah Monch and Prince Poe, they were our label mates. So those was my guys, and like OC, OC.
Of course.
And so when I used to hang out, when we come to New York, I would go to their neighborhoods and just hang out with them. And actually, my guy Rambo, his girlfriend stayed in what's it called, Red Hook?
Red Hook houses.
Right. Yeah. So I was there, right? And they used to be riding around playing Spice One and you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
Too Short and whatever, and it was no problem. Like I was surprised. I was like, "What y'all listen to that?" And they was like, "Yeah, this shit not
Yeah.
it sound the same in your Jeep as it sounded in my Jeep." You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was the
Right.
mentality. They wanted shit that sounded good in their Jeep, and the real, I hate to say it, but the real guys in the streets, they was playing what sounded good. So I was shocked. So then when that happened, I was just like, I don't really feel like that's what's real, even between just
Yeah.
between one guy and one guy. And
Right.
speaking of, the one of the guys, right? You did the Crooklyn Dodgers, right, with Special Ed and Buckshot. And I
Right.
know that Buckshot, at the end was working with Pop with the United, I forget what United Ghetto, whatever the project that they were working on. And, we knew Special Ed from back in the day when we were touring. Did you have any type of relationship with Tupac at all?
I met Tupac twice. I met him
Okay.
once. I met him once at the Palladium in New York. He was actually there with Big. Big was gonna do a couple of songs and he brought Pac out, and that was my first time meeting him, I believe. And he said what up to me, and I introduced myself. He's like, "I know who you are, nigga. I want to work with you." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, dope." But we didn't exchange math or nothing like that. He was about to get on stage with Big and do whatever. And the next time I saw him was in LA at Prince's club, Glam Slam.
Glam Slam. Yep.
Yeah, I was leaving and he was coming in, and he said we said what up to each other there, and he said the same thing. Yo, we need to do some music together. And I was like, all right, yeah. You outside the club, it's hectic. I'm like, you just like, yeah, no doubt. Let's get up. And then it just that was the two times I remember meeting him was those two times.
So you just kind of like in passing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure just in those brief encounters, it was very obvious, and a lot of people don't know that Tupac was just really a real hip hop fan. He was a fan of the culture, and he was he was a b-boy at heart, basically.
You could tell that.
Like we all are. We studied everything that came before us, and we aspired to be and wanted to rub shoulders and just like you be respected by those who we kind of moved up and were watching at the time. So
Yeah.
let's kind of take it back, before
Okay.
everything. Who inspired you to even start rhyming, or when you first started to get into this hip hop thing? Who were you looking up to? Who did you aspire to be like? I mean, who did who did you pattern your whole style around, if anybody?
There wasn't like a specific artist, but the first kind of raps that made me want to rap were tapes that were
Mhm.
recorded from clubs in Harlem and in the Bronx. These tapes would get
Okay.
there would be these parties. I was young. I was probably like 12, 13, but the older kids would go to these parties up. We call all that uptown. Harlem, Bronx, all that's uptown.
Right.
Everybody, they would go uptown, and these tapes would make their way back down to Brooklyn, and somebody inevitably would have their box, their radio, walking around playing the tape. Yo, can I get a dub of that? And then you dub the tape, you get a copy, and then listening to those rappers rapping. It was like Force MCs, it was Cold Crush Brothers, it was Fearless Four. All of those different groups that would be at party, Treacherous Three, they would be at these parties just rapping. And you could hear the crowd in the background, the whole thing. It was like, I mean, some of those tapes are still around, but hearing those tapes is what really made me want to try it out. You know what I mean? Because we were all DJs in my crew. We would make these instrumental tapes, but once we started hearing those tapes, it's like, man, these guys is like putting some verses, rhyming and stuff. So I need to add that to it to make our tape sound like that. So I was the first one to kind of try to put some words to the music that we were doing. And I basically would take a routine that I heard Force MC saying, like they were big with harmonize, and they would take like a popular TV show theme or a TV commercial theme and change the words and put their name in it. And so I basically took what they did and I would just switch the names around and put my name in it instead. And that's how I started, just emulating the rappers that I was hearing coming from the Bronx.
Nice. And real quick, I got a question from the comments. what is your favorite piece of work that you've done?
My favorite piece of work as far as albums is Disposable Arts.
Yeah,
My fourth album.
Disposable Arts.
It was the album
And
after I got walked away from the game and thought I was gonna leave it for good. And I did that album and
right,
changed everything.
and that album is actually viewed as your classic, as your masterpiece, right? What about it made it, the favorite for you?
Because I feel like it was really the first time in my career that I went into the studio with nobody in my ear telling me to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the guys that I was working with, my partner Filthy Rich and DJ Rob, I said, if I'm gonna do this, I don't want no input. Like, just let me make the record that I want to make. However, whatever y'all think about it, just tell me at the end. I don't want to hear nothing. And so everything that I envisioned that I wanted to do on the record came out exactly how I wanted it to come out. And the story that I told on the album with the skits, everything about it was just like the perfect piece of work, and for me. And the reason that I hold it in the highest regard is because it's that album alone that has single-handedly extended my career for 19 years and counting.
Dope. And somebody else just asked, is Lord Digger still producing? Like, what's up with him?
I have no clue what he's up to. We're not friends anymore.
Okay. Right to that. Okay, then we're not gonna ask that question. So let's get back to the beginning. Motherfuckers is like, what's up with the 50 tip? I wish you could see the questions, but it's dope. It's cool. So back to the beginning, you were doing the tapes, and I'm asking because you actually went to college, right? So you went to school. So it wasn't like you was in the hood walking around trying to shop your demo or whatnot. How did you even hook up with Marley Marl and them? Because they're in Queens, but you're coming out of Brooklyn.
Right. I was home for Christmas break from college. It was my sophomore year. And there was my boy called me up. He said they're having a rap contest out in Queens at the skating rink called United Skates of America. Yeah. And so I was like, cool, I'll meet you on the train. We met. And actually, I did a post on Instagram the other day where I kind of told the story because I posted a photo from that night of the contest. And on the way there, I was he had a drum machine called the Dr. Rhythm. I don't know if you remember those joints. A little small.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
so,
little 606 and all that shit.
So I was on the train actually programming the drum machine to fit my rhyme because I had certain lines that I wanted the music to drop out and then go start back up again. So I'm on the train programming the drum machine for the rhyme. But anyway, get there, I wound up winning the contest. And first prize was 6 hours of studio time with Marley Marl.
Okay.
And that's how it all started for me.
Word. So, because I always hear that was the first song. The Symphony was the first song that you recorded with Marley. So was that part of the deal?
That wasn't the first song. Not at all. That was nowhere near the first song. I recorded a bunch because that year, this would have been 86 going into 87. No, just been 85 going into 86. Okay. And then so I recorded music that summer of 86. I recorded some demos with Marley. And then I went back to college and I came back that next summer, 87, recorded some more stuff with him. And then I graduated the following year, 88. And that's when we recorded the Symphony. So I recorded a bunch of music for like 2 years, roughly 2 years. I've been recording different things at his crib.
Okay, but the Symphony was your introduction to the world, right? Now, kind of take me through that because and then I had I remember getting the In Control album with like you and Craig G and wasn't what's his name? What's his name?
Tragedy.
Tragedy, right? Then he changed his name, right? It's like y'all was the new guys. So what was that experience like? stepping in and, with Shan and them kind of like, okay, who's these cats? Especially y'all not even from around
Right.
their way.
Right.
How did you guys integrate initially and build any relationship, if any?
Well, I met Craig very early on. I met Craig the very first studio session that I had at Marley's crib. I went to his crib, and he told me over the phone to meet him. Let's say he said, "Yo, come at 1 in the afternoon on such and such day." I got there like an hour early, just like me and my DJ Steady Pace, because we wanted to, be on time and be on point. So we actually sat outside in his projects on the bench. This guy came like 4 hours late. So while we were waiting, Craig G came walking up and he was like, "Y'all waiting for Marley, right?" Yeah, he said rappers, he always got rappers waiting out here for him. So he sat there and talked with us for about an hour before he went about, wherever he was going. But that was my first day meeting him. But we kind of hit it off that first day, just talking. And he was a kid, man. Craig was like 15 or something. Like, he was mad young.
Wow.
And then in that first session that I finally got my first little bit of studio time, I met MC Shan inside the studio in Marley's crib that day.
Okay.
Marley sent Shan into the back room to do some drum programming with me. And I talked to Shan recently about that. He didn't remember this but he was like, "Well, if Marley sent you back there with me, that means he wasn't thinking about you. He was just trying to get you out of his way." Because I didn't even know what I was doing. That's what Shan said. But but the day in question, as far as coming into that world of all these MCs, that was my first time ever meeting Kane. Was the day we shot the photo for Marley Marl in Control. I met him that day for the first time. I met Biz that day for the first time. But they already their reputations had already preceded them. I knew those guys. Like, I knew their records. Kane was like the dopest dude out at the time. It's just like exciting to just be around him. But as a Brooklyn MC, I feel like I had confidence about myself. Like, I felt like I knew that I had something to offer lyrically. Like, I wasn't intimidated by what dudes could do, because I felt like I could, hold my own. I kind of wanted to even prove it and show it, when the opportunity presented itself. So that was my mentality. It was never like, "Oh, these guys are like big stars and whatever." Because really, at the time, Kane hadn't even dropped the album yet, so he was still pretty new. We heard Rhyming with Biz and maybe get into it. I think he dropped, and those were dope records, no question. But he wasn't like the superstar that he eventually became.
But so in those earlier days, were you ever around any of his recording sessions? Or, what I really want to know is, like, were there any, or do you have any like wild stories of just being in a session with one of the members of the Juice Crew, like, word, like, damn, that's a trip?
It was probably my second or third session that I had with Marley. I remember this was in Queensbridge Houses projects, and I remember Polo came to the house. Now Polo had a record out maybe a year before that, like 85 or something. He had a song. The song was called Polo, and the MC was named MC Frost. And so I remember that song. We used to play that song.
All right.
So Polo comes to the house. I didn't know it was Polo until they started talking. And he's like, "Yo, I got me a new MC with me today." And Marley was like, "What happened with Frost?" He's like, "Yo, Frost got locked up. He in jail. I don't know when he getting out. I got this new dude. His name is Cool G." And that was Cool G Rap. Walked in, he had the Hawaiian suit on, the Hawaiian short suit. And I sat there and watched them record It's a Demo.
No way.
I was there that day. They probably don't remember this, because like when you're in those moments, you don't really remember who's in the room unless you know them. So they didn't know me. So I was just a dude like there, right? And so
he was just a guy that was around.
I was just there, yeah. And I actually watched them record It's a Demo, and I distinctly remember it because I didn't really care for the beat initially. I was like, "Oh, I don't think I like this. Like, this beat is not." Because at that time, dudes wasn't sampling yet. You gotta remember, like, sampling wasn't a thing yet. So it sounded weird to me. I was so used to just like that drum program and that do that, do that. You know, that's what everything sounded like.
Yeah, it was different.
It was so different. And but not even a year later, like that joint was getting played in a little bit on the radio, and then I heard it in a club. I was like, yo, that's the song they recorded that day. Wow.
So you actually historically you were around at like kind of like the introduction of sampling, and like you seen some of the first sampling records being made. And then especially in Marley style, he would always put like delays and echoes on the sounds too, which was a little crazy. There's a question in the comments. Well, two. One is, what is your writing process? And then the other one is, how did you officially become a member of the Juice Crew? Either or.
I'll answer that one first because that's the easier
one.
Okay. I officially became a member of the Juice Crew the day that the Symphony video first aired on Video Music Box in New York City. As soon as I walked in that saloon and my name was emblazoned across the bottom of the screen, Master Ace, because nobody knew who I was. As soon as that name came across the screen, I was officially a member, you know, like it or not. And so it was because they had already coined that name. The Juice Crew was already a thing. Like they had already made a song called Juice Crew All Stars.
Juice Crew All Stars, right?
Shan had a song called Juice Crew Law. So the name was already coined. So now it was I guess it was a little bit of the media and the fans who decided that really anybody who fell under that Marley Marl umbrella was a member of the Juice Crew. And so that's really that's how I got, you know, became part of it.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, repeat, what was the other question?
They asked, what is your writing process?
So over the years, my writing process has changed. When I talked to you about, you know, being on the train that day, trying to program a drum machine for this rhyme that I was working on. Back then, I would write rhymes with no beat in mind, which was like, it's weird. It's weird to me now. Like I was like, how did I used to do that? Like I remember being on the bus going to school in high school, memorizing this long story rhyme with no beat in mind. And so that was then. But now my writing process is that I find a piece of music that inspires me first. The music has to speak to me in some way. I feel like if I'm listening to the beat and no lyrics are coming to me, or no concept or no idea or no feeling is coming to me, then that's not the beat. But once I find that beat that moves me in some way, then I just kind of like calm myself down and I try to listen to what words come into what's coming to me, what's this beat saying. And generally what I like to do is do something other than try to write the rhyme. I'll wash dishes, I'll be driving and just playing the beat. So I wash dishes, I put a beat on. And while I'm washing the dishes and concentrating on that, that's when the lyrics really come to me. What I'm not great at is sitting down with a pen and a pad and a beat on. And I don't think I come up with my best stuff that way. I come up with my best stuff doing other things other than trying to write.
But, all right, so now when you're washing the dishes and the idea comes, do you immediately wipe the soap off and write it down, or do you remember it?
Yeah. No. I might remember 4 bars, but I don't try to get past 4 bars, because once I started getting into 6 and 7 and 8 bars, I'll forget what I said in the 4. So once I get to 4, let me get this down, boom, 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 and then now I got it. So even if I forget it, I got it written down. I'll come back to it. That's my process.
Because I'm what I'm guilty of is having my best 4 bars and saying, oh yeah, I know I'm gonna remember this. And then the harder I try to think about it, the more it just leaves me. So,
that's the worst.
And I always tell myself, like, bro, I gotta do it as soon as I think about it. Another question from the comments, which something I want to know too, because you know, Ed OG is a very close personal friend of mine. Good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's my guy. We talk. You know what I mean? And cool. So the comment is, will we ever get another A&E album?
Nah, I don't see that in the cards really. I love that album. That was a great experience. Me and Ed just kind of like doing something that was really unprecedented for 2 artists, two artists who had solo careers, long solo careers, and then coming together and doing a record and it coming out good. Like that was pretty amazing. But it was always going to be a one and done situation for us, and we toured with it for 2 years, 2.5 years or so. It was dope for the time being, but he's moved on. I've moved on to other things.
Hmm. Okay. Another question, and let's get into it. They're asking about the Marco Polo music. What's up with it?
The new record.
The new record.
Well,
Like, when is it coming?
as soon as I write a word. Listen,
I mean, the concept. I mean, I love the Brooklyn story. Like,
I don't have all I have is beats. I have the beats.
all you have is beats.
He's giving me some really beautiful sounding music. It's just up to me to
Mhm.
take that moment and just like, okay, now I'm gonna start trying to mess with these beats. I haven't even listened to them in probably months. I pick them and I just put them away in my Dropbox. They sitting there, they waiting. But I've been working on this hip hop musical and I'm writing the songs for the musical. So I didn't want to like try to do both at the same time. I want to kind of try to get the majority of these songs with this musical done before I started focusing on that. I'm getting there though. I'm pretty close, but I got a few more songs to write for this musical. Once I'm comfortable with where I'm at with that, then I'll start focusing on the Marco joints. But it's coming.
Okay, and is it, or are you looking at it as a concept album where sometimes cats want to go in and just want to make the jams, or like as you've done in the past, make an album that just has a storyline and a concept where it has a beginning and end. Is that something that you think about?
I feel like that's part of what I do now. Like I don't think I could do a record and not have a concept or a storyline involved in it. That's all part of the process now for me. That's how I make my records now.
Okay, so that's just it.
Yeah.
And people want to know more about the musical because you kind of just skimmed over like, oh yeah, my music. Wow, you cut out. What's going on?
So I've been working on it for about 2 years. The script. This past March, we had our first kind of like loose table read where we had some actors come in, not specific actors that we that we casted, just people that were willing to take a couple hours out of their day to come and sit down in a room and read through the different parts, the script. And so we had a room of actors come in and read and just so we could hear the story for the first time. Because when you're writing something, in your head, it sounds one way, but hearing actual people say the words and react to each other and reactions in the room, that's when you really know what you have and what you don't have. And so we did that in March. And once we had what we feel like was a successful table read, I mean, the story still has to do I still have to do some tweaking to the story, but we feel like we're at a good enough point now where now I can start focusing on the music. So since March, that's all I've been doing is just finding music and writing to the music and creating the songs for the characters. It sounds like there's going to be about 19 songs in the entire musical. It's not a musical like it's not like Hamilton where everything is sang. There's actual dialogue and characters. There's actual, speaking parts. There's songs that happen at certain points throughout the musical, but it's not a fully sung musical, which I'm not a fan of. Like I've been to those, and it's just too much. It's just too much music for me personally. It's like, come on, like
What the whole thing?
yeah, they're singing every line, every conversation is a song, and I it just because it's too much. I like the breaks. I want to hear people talking and interacting like a play, and then boom, at a certain point, break into the song. And so that's what we're putting together. It's coming out really well. I'm working with this company, this hip hop theater company called Rhymes Over Beats. They've been working with me for the last couple of years. They have assigned me a dramaturge who her job is to make sure that I am consistently having output. So we meet every single week. We meet over Zoom, and we go over what I wrote last week or what I've written in the past week. And she gives me feedback, input, stuff to think about, and then I go back and I take her notes and I, look at her notes and I try to like fix what's wrong and come back the following week. And so we've been doing that for like 2 years.
Okay, and it's scheduled. It's going to start in the theater, right?
Yeah, we don't really know until it's really done, and we see what type of funding we end up with. But
Right.
we really feel like I would like, perfect world for me, I would like it to open in London,
Okay.
and make its way through Europe before even touching the United States. That's what I would like to do.
Okay. Right. Another question in the comments is, what are your thoughts currently on the COVID-19 situation currently?
I mean, it's obviously a terrible thing that we're having to deal with right now. I really feel
Right.
strongly that the government is going out of their way to inflate the numbers of people that are getting sick and dying. And the reason that they're doing that is because they want us to be in fear. This is a fear campaign. I'm not saying the COVID-19 exists and people are getting sick and some people are dying. But what they're trying to do is make it seem as scary as possible, so that the end game for them is that everybody gets this vaccine that they're trying to push and promote. And I'm telling you straight up, like I am not with that. I am not taking that. And I don't want none of my family members to take that. My daughter, my wife, none of us are trying to get in line to take that. So, but that's what this is about. This is more about how much money the pharmaceutical companies they're gonna make billions, maybe trillions, from this vaccine, and that's worldwide. But I don't know what they're thinking they're giving people, but I don't trust it. I'll take my chances out there without it. Trust me. I can't tell you how many times over the last like 5 years I have doctor's appointments. They try to push the flu shot on me, and I was like, no, I'm good. I've literally never had the flu.
And never had the shot either.
Never had the shot. Never had the flu.
Or so with all of our guests, we like to play a game. We'll just call it hip hop trivia. I want to get into it, but real quick, there was one last question. Somebody asked, you said you wanted to open your musical in Europe. Why Europe? Really quick.
Because I know it will be less of a hard sell. The United States market is based heavily on record sales, popularity, radio play, those types of things. And so like people won't come out based on my name in the United States. But in London, in Berlin, in Stockholm, and places like that, which are the places that I've been touring for the last 20 years. And I do a club there. We get 500 to 800 people every time I go out to perform in these places. I know that we could do a week's worth of shows in those places and fill those rooms and sell out those shows, because people care enough about me that they're going to come out and show out. So I would rather build the story of the musical in Europe, and then let that swell of momentum. I bring that swell of momentum back to the United States so they can see what they've been missing out on.
What's up? All right, so we're gonna lighten the mood in the closing moments, and I want to first introduce you to my co-host and Tanteezy. Can you hear Tanteezy?
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear?
What's up? Yeah, I hear her.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so what Tanteezy is gonna do is she's gonna go through a couple of hip hop trivia questions, have a little fun, not only just to sharpen your memory, it should be fairly easy, but also to share some of our knowledge with the listeners, right?
Okay.
And the last question is the bonus, which we'll do a giveaway to the listeners. So the very last one, if you know the answer, we'll hold off from giving it. Right. So it's from, Tanteezy's kind of gonna go through them, and then
So what is the first question exactly? Is it the first question is a question to him?
yeah,
Are you going to introduce the question?
let me see it. We're trying to get it together over here.
It's just a question.
Right, go ahead.
Chill, Rob G.
Well, this is a question. Can you hear?
I hear.
Okay, this first one is a question. And let me before I start, all of the questions are in some way associating with you.
Is it multiple choice?
No, they're not multiple
Okay.
choice.
All right.
I tried to get him to do.
They want me to do multiple choice, but I think I made these because they always say my questions are too hard. So I tried to lighten up and make them a little easier.
He's Pat No Jack.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm Pat No Jack.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
So the first one is, one moment. Oh, shoot. Okay. Chill Rob G, Nikki D, and La T were part of which iconic hip hop crew?
Flavor Unit.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Flavor Unit. Feature, Chill Rob G, La T, Lakim Shabazz, Naughty by Nature, 45 King. A lot of people didn't know Black Sheep was initially in Flavor Unit. And of course, the most famous Flavor Unit member, Queen Latifah, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the first one. The second one, I believe, is it's a lyric, and she's gonna say a line, and you tell me who said it and which song it comes from.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. I'll explain the man sleeping in the rain. His whole life remains inside a bottle of Night Train. Who said it?
Coogee Rap.
Ding, 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 ding.
You didn't have to make the who said it that easy.
From Streets of New York. No, they told me to make it easy because I
normally people don't get his.
Yeah, because normally people. I'm hoping I'm making this easy enough.
No, this is extremely easy.
All right, well, I gotta find a medium.
I don't think that's that easy. I don't think I don't know if the average.
I think the first one was fairly easy. A lot of people don't know Streets of New York by Coogee Rap, but I knew you should know it because it's your,
If you had asked me what song it was, it would have taken me a little bit longer.
Oh, I thought I did. You didn't say it?
You said what artist was it? Who said
I
the
thought
lyric?
I asked you the song, but it's from Streets of New York.
Yeah.
Word.
Okay, here's the next one.
Here's the next one.
What is this? Just a question or?
Hold on, let me see.
Which Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, this is. All right, so here we go. Let's do. I know you know this. This should be fairly easy.
You don't want to introduce.
Let's see if the audience can answer. But this is a question.
So is this for him or the audience?
It's for the audience, but it's for him as well. I know he will.
I won't answer right away.
Okay. Which Brooklyn MC has knowledge from his toes to the top of his dome?
Okay,
I'll wait.
You got it?
He knows.
I know it,
right?
but I got it.
All right, let's wait. Let's see if we can get a winner. And of course, the winner will win a Money Being Young Hump shirt, courtesy of dumerch.com, who actually sponsors the Going Way Back show.
No one. Oh, someone says special ed.
NYC 2000001. Carlin is the winner. Special ed.
Woo!
He has lyrics from his
Carlin.
toes to the top of his dome. Fellow Crooklyn Dodger. And this last one is also.
Wait, did he know?
Yeah, of course. You knew it was special ed. He knew it. I can tell their face when they go. Like, because some niggas be like, yeah, I know it. And they still be like,
nah.
Okay. Well, good job. So the last one is a question for the audience.
This is a question for the audience. I'm sure you know this, but let's see if the audience knows.
Okay.
All right.
And this is fill in the blank.
Criminal minded. You've been blinded. Looking for a style like mine, you can't find it. They are the audience. I am the lyricist. Sometimes the blank on the side gotta hear this. Who said it?
So fill in the blank, people.
That's for me?
No.
Do
okay.
you know it?
You know
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
it? Yeah. We know it.
We'll send you a shirt.
DJ Bless B says suckers, which is the correct answer. So NYC 2000, and DJ Bless B, you win a Money B and Young Hump t-shirt courtesy of dumerch.com.
Please DM your size and your mailing address.
Oh yeah, and then I also have to say that we're also adding into the prize is a copy of the time capsule mix. Master Ace, every week before the show, we have a pre-party on IG where we play a mix of the artist who's featured. So DJ Always, he made a full mix with your music. And so the winner will win a free copy of that mix with the actual playlist. So DM me your address as well as your email address, and we'll send you the mix with the playlist, and we'll get you out your Money B and Young Hump t-shirt courtesy of dumerch.com.
That's pretty cool.
Appreciate it.
We should send you the mix. We should send them the mix as well too.
So I have a fun fact, and then I'll end that with a question. I was actually at the New Music Seminar. When your record was coming out, and you performed You and the Biz joint. You had the thing on stage, and I believe you did you have dancers as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at that show. Was that the only time that you ever tried to perform that like that? Or
Did I have the puppet out there?
Yeah, you had the puppet. You had the puppet,
Man.
and you had the loud colors on. I believe it was like the trash cans in the back. You had some dancers.
Yeah. I don't remember that specific show, but I know that the puppet didn't make many appearances on stage with me. That was like probably one of the only times, and the feedback wasn't great on the streets, so I kind of left that puppet behind. I didn't want to really associate myself with it. The puppet is more famous than me now. He's in covers of books and all kinds of stuff. Ego Trip has a Ego Trip's Book of Rap list, the first edition. The Biz doll is all over that book. He's on the cover actually. But anyway, yeah, I don't remember that specifically performance, but what you described is definitely how I was dressing. I had a hat like this, some probably bright suit on, a bright shirt. I was just like, yeah. I was just, trying to find myself, man, trying to find my lane,
Word, and that's why I mentioned it, because I was almost certain that you didn't do that many more times.
No. I'd have had to find my lane.
By watching it. And so, real quick before I let you go, share, because a lot of people don't realize, back then you had to be in the studio to do the music. And the reason that you made that song was because Biz didn't show up, right?
He wasn't willing to show up. He said if I brought the song to his studio, he would do it, but he wouldn't come to Marley's studio. Him and Marley were having a little rift at the time.
And did you notice, after you had already went and started recording your verse?
No, I knew this. So I recorded my part and Biz's part, and I changed my voice so that when he got the tape, he would be able to memorize his parts. He would be able to differentiate my verse from his verse, because it wasn't like verse hook. It was like our verses. Each verse was a split of both of us. So the only way he would know when his parts were was if I changed my voice. So I changed my voice so he would know, okay, now I start rhyming. And then that was my way of creating a version that he could memorize. And so I did all of that thinking that he was going to still do the song. When I did it, that's what I thought was going to happen.
And then he just didn't come. So what was the decision to be like, fuck it, let's just do it like that?
That's what Marley said. I was like, what? Like, that don't sound dope. He's like, nah, trust me. And I'm a new guy. I'm brand new. I'm 20 something. I'm not trying to rock the boat. I'm just happy to be down and be around. And so I follow Marley's lead on that right there. And, people like the record. and so the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the album as well. So, I know sometimes we, personally, we were like, well, that wasn't my favorite time, but we still, it's a part of history, man. And it was dope because it hadn't been done before, especially. So, on behalf of myself, shouting out Time Teasy for the hip hop trivia.
You got to come with
man,
some harder questions next time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no questions.
Oh, some harder questions on hip hop. Yeah. Well, man, they was sweating me because they was like, bro, your questions are too hard.
What was one of the hard questions you asked somebody?
Okay, I'll say who was my guest last week? God damn it, I'm getting old. I don't remember what happened last week. Who was the guest last week? Todd Teasy? Anyway.
Wait, let me pull it up.
Okay, she's gonna pull up the questions from last week.
Can you take
I want to hear these.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I'll talk.
Because people thought these were too hard. I thought everybody knows these.
I'm trying to still have it.
Who was the guest last week? Why am I tripping? Oh, Eric Sermon.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, this shit's too hard. And I'm
Okay,
like,
so-
Eric Sermon's a producer. He should know this shit.
Okay, I got last week's questions up. Okay, so the first one was who said it, I guess you would say. It was fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank.
He would get this because he would get this. I have friends, that's a fact, like Agnes, Agna, Blank, and Jack.
That's biz.
No, but what's the blank?
What's the blank?
Oh, say it again. I didn't hear the blank.
So this is a line from that song.
Okay.
I have friends, and that's a fact, like Agnes, Agatha, Blank, and Jack.
Jermaine.
Okay.
Yeah, that was easy. Right?
Okay, so
Eric didn't get that one?
No.
It took him a while. He was like, I know it, but I don't know it. But that was the easy ones. All right, so here come the rest of them.
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
here's the next one. What early West Coast artist did Brother Marquise rap with before becoming a permanent member of Two Live Crew?
Oh shit! I definitely don't know that. I didn't know he was with another crew. West Coast.
You probably wouldn't know it.
I wouldn't.
And the only
know
reason
that.
I asked that question
It's because
I had Mr. Mix on because Brother Marquise used to rock with Joe Cooley from Ronnie and Joe Cooley.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that.
Right, but my audience should have known it because when Mr. Mix was on, we talked about it.
Okay.
So that shows you how much they pay attention to me.
Not only that, you make questions that pertains to that person's area, their realm,
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one.
Okay.
From what 1982 hip hop classic did Master P borrow the hook line from his 1994 hit, Make 'Em Say,
So it's Pumpkin and the All Stars.
It's
no.
not.
Wait.
No.
Hold on.
The production is coming from a similar place, but no, it's not that.
I mean I know the record, but I thought it was Pumpkin. No, it's not Pumpkin. It's it's Funk Box.
Exactly, by the Mastodon Committee.
Mastodon, okay. Funk Box, okay.
And the reason that you thought it was Pumpkin and All Stars is because on Pumpkin and All Stars Part 2, the Mastodon Committee was on that collaborative record.
And I think they sang a little part of that, right?
They sang a part of it because everybody got on and sang their popular thing on the concentrate.
Okay.
Is it one more?
Yes.
So there's one more.
All right. See? You have to find your happy medium, right?
Okay.
Name 2 of the 5 main samples Kid and Play's 1987 breakout single, Last Night. I'll repeat it. Name 2 of the 5 main samples Kid and Play's 1987 breakout single, Last Night.
Okay. Last night changed it all.
Word.
I really had a ball. Um, so I know that that's one of them. She said two. Um, You'll Like It Too was the drums.
Bye.
I don't know who it's by.
That
I can't
wasn't
think.
it. No, it
You'll,
wasn't.
You'll Like It Too? That's the name of the drums.
Nah, it wasn't. It was two drum samples, and that wasn't one of them.
See, that's why we made the questions this week easier, because he probably would have came with the same difficult questions.
Oh, hold on. Funky Drummer.
Funky Drummer was in it.
Funky
You know,
Drummer.
but
And I really had a ball. Why don't I can't think of the name of that song? Last night, change it all. It's the telephone joint. What the hell is the name of the song? It's a telephone joint. The telephone break. I can't think of the name of the break though.
it was Esther Williams last night.
Last night,
Change
okay.
song.
I'm not
And-
good with artists of who
And
made.
then but the main drums was "Theme from the Planets" by Dexter Wansell.
Funky Drum.
Funky
I'm gonna go-
Drummer had the guitar riff,
Yeah.
but Dexter Wansell it was the main drums, which
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
feeling like it's your. That's why I'm thinking of You're Like It Too, because of that roll. It's
yeah,
similar
because the roll, and it's the same break that Eric B. and Rakim used in
No, You Got Soul.
Let the
No.
rhythm hit him. Let the rhythm hit him.
Okay.
Now I have a question.
Tantizi has a question.
Do you know who Pebbly Poo is?
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, you crazy. Don't nobody know that. Pebbly Poo was part of the Mastodon committee. But Pebbly
Yep.
Poo is a known MC.
Okay.
She was at a party I was at recently.
You lying.
Yep.
Next time you see her, be like, we was just talking about you.
Pebbly Poo.
And shout out to Atron. Joe Cooley and Brother Marquise, they weren't in Pomona, they were actually in Riverside, because they were both stationed in the military together. Because Brother Marquise is originally from New York. He's from I almost want to say he's from Brooklyn, but
I never knew that.
yeah, Brother Marquise is originally from New York.
Give his information.
All right. So there it is. That's what's up.
I appreciate your time, man.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time, but I want to hear from you. Are my questions too hard to know? Because
I won't say they're too hard.
they just right.
No, well, a couple of those were.
You need multiple choice.
Multiple choice would make it a little easier. You can make them as hard as you want if you make a multiple choice.
Okay. Only reason I refrained from multiple choice this week, because I know they take a long time to read. But next week, I'm going to have several multiple choice. Next week, Rock from Helter Skelter will be my guest. So I want some easier questions, multiple choice. We're going to get it in. Yo, Ace, I appreciate you, man.
Wait, his information, his handles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let everybody know where they can find you, on social, or any information that you want them to know about what you have up and coming.
Any websites, any merch, anything.
Yeah. My website is mastaace.com, MASTAACE. And I have all my merch up there: hats, shirts, vinyl, CDs. I even sell Irish Sea Moss on there, so go check that out. My Instagram is Masta Ace Pics, PICS, and my Twitter is just @Masta Ace. Hit me up on any of those.
Word up. I follow you.
I didn't know. I thought I was already following you. I started today though.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Once again, man, I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Can't wait for the new record. Marco Polo. I do want to see it. I'm gonna have to fly to the UK.
Yo.
Fly to London to see the play when it come out.
By the time they get back here, the actors will have they'll be a cleaner. They'll be ready to go.
Word, and stay on my line too, because if you ever feel like you want to, put that content on any type of streaming network or something. I got some things in the works we could talk about for sure.
That sounds great.
All right. Well, much success to you, my brother.
You too,
I
brother.
will
Talk
talk
to
to
you.
you soon.
God
All
bless.
right, man. Thank you. You got
Peace.
it. Word up. So, appreciate having Master Ace on the show. I appreciate all you guys tuning in and checking us out. I also want to remind everyone that this show is exclusively sponsored by dumerch.com and 90s Hip Hop, where you can get your officially licensed digital underground and 90s, classic 90s artists, hip hop merchandise. You see, I got this Bone Thugs. What is this? I forget, what is this? It's just the Bone Thugs and Harmony that I'm rocking like that. But also, tap in with 90s hip hop, because pretty soon we'll have the Going Way Back Show mugs available, as well as the Going Way Back Show t-shirts. Two versions. I have alternate versions that I'm gonna spring on y'all real soon. I also want to share the information that the Going Way Back Show will also be available on the Vire network, the Vire streaming network platform in a couple of weeks. If you don't have the Vire network app, make sure you download it. You can get it on your Roku, you can get it on your Fire Stick, you can get it on your Android or iPhone. Beer mug. It's a coffee mug, but it can be used as a beer mug. You know what I mean? Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate the compliment. So, I'm gonna step on out. I appreciate everybody for coming through. And of course, I want to thank everybody in the room, in the group. I want to thank Tom Teasy, my co-host, OD working the boards, DJ Always on the mix. That's the crew. It's the Going Way Back Show crew. We do it like this every week. Make sure you tune into the Time Capsule pre-party on IG right before the show. Next Thursday, we start around 3:10, and we play the music of that week's guest. So, of course, next week's guest is Rock of Helter Skelter. So we're gonna be playing a lot of Boot Camp Click. That's a tongue twister. I was able to say it. You gotta slow down if you want to say Boot Camp Click. Boot Camp Click. Buckshot and them with some Tupac. But anyways, that's my time. I appreciate all y'all. So until next time, people, please be easy.
What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back.
It's the Going Way Back Show with Money B. Classic hip hop, raw and uncut.